Hey folks, Ray from DCRamerica.com here to tell you about GoPro's newest action camera, the GoPro Fusion. Now the Fusion is a 360-degree action camera. It uses two different lenses to get 5.2K outputted total footage across those two different lenses. This is different than their GoPro Hero6 and all the past cameras in that it is a 360-degree camera. Now this is something that GoPro's been teasing for a long time, and they finally announced ordering back in September, and it just started shipping here in the last couple of days. I got my order right there. This is bought by myself. Everything, in fact, this entire video is myself. It's all owned by me, so there's no like sponsorship or any of that jazz here at all. So we're going through an unboxing in this video. I'll talk a little bit about a couple things along the way. We'll do some size and weight comparisons, and then a second video coming up here in a couple of days. I'll dive in a lot more of the nuances of this camera. It's definitely not a camera that's going to be for everyone. There's no doubt about that at all. 360-degree footage is tricky, and the way GoPro has staged their launch, the rollout of this product, a lot of the features that you'll see or that you'll have seen in promotional materials aren't actually yet available, not until next year sometime. So this is really more about the camera and people who like to do or want to kind of be on the cutting edge of 360-degree video. So with that, we have the box here. This is the unit itself, the Fusion camera in this whole box. It also comes with these stickers right there. So it's got like 3 different sizes of stickers. Figured I'd mention that, they came for free. So there you go. We'll go slide this sleeve right off here if we can, nice and clean. What you see on the back though of the sleeve is basically the different components that are in this. So it says it's got the camera, looks like a pouch of some sort, a pole, the little screw that you'd see there, a battery, a charger, and then looks like these are optional accessories. My guess is by that circle around them, so things that you can probably buy extra. Like everything else, you buy extra. So we'll go ahead and spin this around here and crack this baby open. So there we go inside. It's a pretty nice package. I'm not gonna complain. This is actually a really nice setup. It's very cleanly done. You can see here we've got this, looks like a selfie pole of some sort, so we'll kind of look at that first. So it looks like it pops open. This is essentially, by the looks of things, a bit of a, let's see, there we go, lock, unlock. That's not too bad. That's pretty darn big actually. So that goes, can I go all the way up with it? Yep. So this is almost, that's about where it goes, it looks like. So if I put this right here, move some stuff over, you can see, there we go. Looks like it locks in place there. It's very, very similar to the GoPro Shorty they announced back at, in September as well. This is a little mini version of that essentially. So you got the Shorty and the Longy. But either way, I actually like the Shorty. I use it a lot. It's something I've been surprised I use a lot. So it's kind of cool. This is obviously a much bigger version of that. And then you can put the camera on top there and then easily fold it back up, use it as a selfie stick if you wanted to, whatever the case is. Next, we have in the bag this pouch. Looks like the GoPro camera is inside of that. So we'll go and unpocket this right there. And there we go, we can see it right there. So it's got the standard GoPro mount on the bottom. This piece here can actually detach. So you can unpop these little doors somehow. There we go, 1, break my fingernails, 2, and then this should slide out to the side. And the reason they allow this is to be able to put it on a surface like that. Otherwise, you'd be basically, you'd just tip over, or as the manual says, you can put it upside down or however you want, but you're not supposed to put it on its lenses because it could scratch up the lenses and stuff. So kind of a neat little system there in terms of a locking system. See if I can get it back in place. Maybe not so easy to get back in place actually. There we go. Pop, that was actually super easy. Pop, and I'm gonna put it right there. I like the pouch. I like the fact that it actually has a little pocket at the end, or so if you go right there, you'll see it, the bottom can stick out that. That's kind of cool. Next, we have this little box of goodness right here. So I'm gonna move this whole situation off the side for right now. Put that over there. And the box of goodness inside has, looks like a standard GoPro Care. So you can basically, GoPro Care is where you pay a little bit extra and they can, in theory, like expedite shipment of replacement parts to you and stuff like that. And it also tells you kind of all the parts here and how to use them. So pretty straightforward, it looks like. You're gonna be able to open this door up on the top there. We're gonna stick the battery inside of it. There's a door for charging. We'll walk through all this stuff, so put this off to the side. It does give you a bit of a heads up to not mount the tripod mount straight onto your helmet and instead put it on the normal curved brackets there, so, or curved sticky mounts. Here is the battery. So this is definitely not the same as the GoPro Hero 5, 6, or any past batteries at all. In fact, it's quite a bit bigger. If we look right here, Here is a standard GoPro Hero 5 and 6 battery. You can see this is dramatically bigger. Almost exact same thickness. Maybe this is a tiny bit thinner than the other one, but you can see if I put them on top of each other, I mean, it's a massive difference there in terms of size. And that makes sense, of course. It's basically powering two cameras inside of this, so it's got to be essentially twice as big, and it is about twice as big. So pretty straightforward there. Put that off the side for right now. We'll drop that off there as well. And then in here we got, whoa, these are mother massive. So this is there we go. That's all it is inside that little box right there. This plastic thing was supposed to hold something. Starting off here, first we have a USB-C. So obviously GoPro changed to USB-C back at the Hero 5 lineup. They've carried that through to Hero 6, and now that is true of Fusion as well. To go ahead and charge this, you can go ahead and just simply open up this door right there, and there you've got your USB-C connector right there. So you can just pop that in, and you'll be good to go. You can of course power this by cable anytime you want, so you can keep it always on. When you are in the powered on mode by cable, it will not charge at the same time. That's something to be aware of. So there we go. This door looks like it pops off. Yep, so you can pop it off as well. That way you don't have this thing hanging out right there. So there's that piece. We've talked about the cable. These are two sticky mounts. This has a slight bit of a indentation out there. Obviously for a helmet, you plop it on top and stick it right up there. Pretty straightforward. This same thing, but a flat mount for maybe like a board or something else where you want to stick on a flat in front of a car hood. These are beefy. Holy balls, these are beefy. And then finally the screw there that of course you're going to take the camera, you're going to stick it in your said mount, take this in all the way, and then you put it on whatever surface you want, and you're essentially good to go. So that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's talk about the SD cards. Now this camera actually needs two micro SD cards, which is a bit unusual even in the 360-degree realm for single unit cameras. That's not so normal. So where we are on the cameras, there we go. Let's pop this out of the way so we can get to the SD cards there. So you can see you have to at least remove that to get those. Press this button right there, slide it open, and this is the battery compartment right there in the middle, and on either side is the two SD card slots. I know it's a bit tough to see. There we go. Probably a little bit easier from that angle right there. So we would slide the battery compartment or the battery into the battery compartment like that, and you can see we can still access the two SD card slots. When it comes to SD cards, I'm going to try to turn that the right way. There we go. I just buy them on Amazon, super cheap, whatever. Do ensure that you're buying legit SD cards. I know this sounds silly, but it's really easy, especially on Amazon, to buy illegitimate SD cards, which will then lead to corruption issues. Generally look for the Amazon Prime Now logos fulfilled by Amazon. That means that it's basically them fulfilling it as opposed to some random other reseller. So I've got two of them here. I'm gonna unbox these real quick and stick them in there. When it comes to SD cards, I tend to use 128s or larger. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you might lose an SD card and that what happens. Seriously, when's the last time you lost an SD card? It just doesn't happen. They don't die. Like, there's corruption issues, but it's usually localized to a given file or something that's going to happen in anything. So I just use the bigger ones because especially when you're shooting 4K recordings, then I just want to have that space. I don't want to deal with having a bunch of micro SD cards that I have to swap out all the time, which then leads to the losing thing that we just talked about. So I'm gonna go and take these. These are two 128 SanDisk Ultras. They match basically what is listed as compatible specs on GoPro's site. They have a whole listing of compatible ones. I'll drop the links to these down in the description there though. I use these, I've been using these for years on all my units. They are awesome. I never have any issues with them. So with that, we're good to go. By the way, interesting, check that out. It actually says SD1 and SD2 there. You can see it just on the battery right there at the very top. Kind of a neat little touch. So there we go. We got this thing closed up. And now we'll go and turn it on. So there we go. Mode, power button on the right-hand side there. Hold that down for a second or two. And this should power up the camera. And there we are. So you see there's one small LCD screen there. There is not a preview screen on the camera. So unlike something like the Hero 6, Hero 5, Hero 4, Silver, there is no preview screen. And that kind of makes sense to some degree anyways, in that you're not really gonna be able to utilize that screen to see what you're doing because it's 360. So if you're facing the wrong way or whatnot, but still it's a little bit odd. In this case, we'll go and select the English language. So I think I just pressed the, let's see, maybe this, there we go, enter button, English, yep. Turn on GPS, yep. And then we'll have to use GPS out later on side. Turn on voice control, yep. And then voice settings, English, US, definitely. Australian and UK may sound more interesting, but I'm gonna go with US. Set to English, yep. Voice control is now turned on. Connect to GoPro app, yes. So now is when I can go ahead and use my phone here to connect to the GoPro app. We'll come back to the app a little bit later on. I'm gonna go ahead and cancel that for right now. And then here we are, ready to record. So you can see up top it says 5.2K 30. I've got 5 hours and 1 minute of recording time on these two SD cards. The way it works is it sends one of these lenses to one SD card, the other lens to the other SD card. It's not like a redundancy sort of thing. It's purely recording one half on one side, one half on the other side. Okay, so with the handy dandy little scale there, let's just weigh this puppy right on in. So it comes in at 226 grams. To put that in perspective, I'm going to take off the tripod portion of this, but leave on the mount portion, and that's coming in at 180 grams, so that's a fair bit lighter. If we compare it to the GoPro Hero6, again, I'm going to leave the case on because it has a mount portion, so I think that's kind of fair. That is 143 grams, 144 grams. If I were to pop off the case, then that would be at 118 grams. So again, this is basically double this. That's kind of the simple math here. This is double this in battery, double this in SD cards, double this in size, double this in weight. You know, if you look at the size right there, you can see, I mean, that's basically pretty close to double it. This goes a little bit deeper down that way, a tiny bit skinnier than twice the length there, the width there. When it comes to this side, you can see they're almost identical, except these lenses pop out a bit. Speaking of lenses, one thing to mention that's interesting here is these are offset slightly. So if I look like this, let's see, put the camera up, there we go. You'll notice this one is slightly this way and this one is slightly this way. Whereas on Garmin's camera, they are identical in terms of being the exact same positioning on both sides. The reason GoPro is doing that is through the overlap there. They want to be able to get rid of your hand and your pole. And that's what they've shown in all their videos so far. But GoPro's videos are well known for being highly edited. So it's something that, you know, we'll have to take a look at outside and see if that's really the case. Okay, next looking at a few more camera size and weight comparisons here. We've got the Nikon Key Mission 360. We'll toss this baby on. 212 grams. A reminder again, this thing comes in at 226 grams. This thing somehow feels heavier, but I think because it's a smaller package, so it kind of lines up that way. Again, I would say this is the most competitive unit to the GoPro. This is not too far behind. The software is horrendous on this. Next, we've got the 4K version of the Fly, the 360 Fly. This is not their dual lens version. They announced that last year at CES, but then went super quiet on it, so nobody really knows what's happening there. Nonetheless, the single 4K version is 172 grams. We then got the also equally horrendous software variant of the Kodak 360. This is the single version, simply double the weight to get the double version. There we go, 126 grams. Again though, with these things like these cameras right there, excluding that, really horrendous software, really kind of not great image quality in comparison to these two cameras there. And then we've got the Ricoh Theta. That's a much smaller camera, 125 grams. But, you know, it's not quite as well versed in outdoor conditions as this will be in terms of waterproofing and all that kind of stuff. So that is something to keep in mind. And again, this isn't the same resolution. When you take that jump from 4K to 5.2K or 5.7K in particular, that is doubling that resolution. That is 2 4K sensors there. And that's a huge amount of potential real estate to work with in video, which is awesome. Okay, so there we go. There's a look at size and weight comparisons over those things. Just for fun to show you what this looks like on the tripod itself. We can go ahead and pop this in there. I'm gonna go ahead and just put that there, take that thumb screw, slide it on in, and then we got a kind of complete look at this, kind of its final resting state. Move all this junk out of the way. And again, the nice part about this stand is you can kind of keep it at 3 different heights if you want to. So you can put that line of base height right there. We'll turn the screen towards you so you can see it. And then we can go ahead and just simply go up as far as we want, and then we're good to go. So there you go, a look at the new GoPro Fusion. As I said, I'm gonna do a separate video that's gonna talk in more detail about what it actually looks like from a footage standpoint. You've of course seen the GoPro commercials from their footage, but I think what's most interesting here is to see what real people's footage look like. That's not heavily edited and marketed and all that kind of junk. So I'm gonna link to some sample footage up there because I can't mix regular content with 360 content. And I'll also talk about in other videos things like overcapture software, using their plugins, using their native software. I'm gonna dig into in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. To ensure you do not miss that, go ahead and whack that subscribe button down the bottom there, as well as the like button. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.